So a lot to plow through, but I want to just make a preface note that I will cover a lawsuit that's been recently initiated around a very tragic death where the Church of Scientology is linked. So look out for that. But I just want to do some careful research there because it's a little bit back and forth with that lawsuit. But now let's jump into the main juicy matter, which is the DOA versus Aaron Smith-Levin fight, or not versus one another, but perhaps miscommunication, misunderstanding. What the hell is happening? Well, let me just give the background very quickly that DOA was trying to establish this very weird tactic of occupying apparently the Blue Building in Los Angeles, which is kind of like a symbolic headquarters of Scientology. Whether the Blue Building even matters that much, don't know, but apparently they've just made it a point to keep trying to embarrass Scientology, but it basically backfired, and a municipal code has forced them to stop the occupation, basically roll up their tents and leave with their tails tied behind their backs and just look really foolish, spent a lot of time and money, didn't go anywhere. And DOA got into a bunch of fights with the protesters there, including Jay and others. And Aaron is basically notifying people that he's not going to take a stance. He just says, I support all these people. I'm not going to really support DOA. I'm not supporting DOA. I just think we should concentrate on other things. And if DOA retires from radical activism, good luck to him, but we should move on. Now, I don't really trust what Aaron is saying because what he says is pretty remarkable. Because if it's true, it's insane. Namely, that he doesn't even know what's happening. Apparently, he's giving all this tactical advice. He's trying to promote these channels, but he has not a clue as to what is happening between DOA and these other protesters. Does he really not know? Because he does seem to be very close to Jessica Palmadessa. He seems very close to Streets LA. Apparently, DOA is not a part of that. It's just stating the obvious that he's manipulating information and people again. And not surprisingly, DOA fired back. He was really angry that he's being manipulated. And although I don't like DOA, he did make a few solid points that if DOA, and let's be perfectly clear, he lies all the time, so we really can't believe him. But if he does feel like he's in physical danger and that Aaron is not being aggressive enough in protecting people, yeah, I think it's reasonable to say something suspicious is happening. But what is the danger? Well, DOA was a little vague. He kept pointing to GOP, who was this big donor who has been giving the protesters tons and tons of money. So a lot of question marks about who this guy is, what are his motives, what is he up to? Is he just being very generous? And he was, again, DOA's biggest supporter until recently, but now he's actually threatening to put DOA in jail for putting out doxing information on him. So it's all rather convoluted. But the main gist here is none of this really has much to do with anti-Scientology. It really has to do with these various protesters trying to be the big dog in the building and trying to get the most money. And the Reddit posts on DOA are pretty devastating. They're going through his criminal past. But apparently, even with the donations, he's trying to centralize those. And yet, in the video attacking Aaron, and he makes very clear he is attacking Aaron, and even though he's pushing back on the narrative that he's burning bridges, he says he's willing to burn a ton of bridges because he just doesn't trust Aaron or what he's up to. And he's also fighting the stereotype that he only cares about money and power because he gave Natalie, whose husband recently died, $500. Now, I actually agree with a lot of the criticisms in the comments section of his video, but here's the problem is I've been saying these criticisms for a long time, and a lot of other channels have been saying this for a long time. They've been trying to document Scott's lying, his criminal behavior, his shifty tactics, and his betraying of other friends and allies in other movements. But for whatever reason, we're not being credited, or magically this information appeared out of nowhere, and people just now know that DOA is a grifter and a liar and very toxic, but somehow this only became relevant after he attacked Aaron. So if he had not attacked Aaron, apparently he'd still be okay despite his criminality and his toxicity. It just makes all sides of this, whatever we're going to call it, the SPTV / squirrel rebellion, look really, really unprincipled. So DOA is bad because he just seems to be concerned with fame and money and is going to do anything to get there and then try to act like the field marshal of the revolution and bark orders. But then if things go badly, he doesn't take responsibility. And Aaron looks really, really bad because he is pretending to be above the fray, but his video was just incredibly incoherent. He says, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm just very loyal to my
I
friends.
will not take sides against people who I do not have beefs with. I will not treat someone like I have a beef with them just because someone else I like has a beef with them. Now, that might be like, oh my God, but don't you trust and support your friends? Guys, if multiple people are my friends, which one of them am I supposed to trust and support? I don't know enough about the situation to have a strong opinion about it.
That can't be correct. You've been attacking Claire Headley, Mike Rinder, and Mark for nearly a year. And he said, I've never. Yes, you did. You put out a video questioning if Mike even has cancer. I saw that video. You put out that video. I heard that video. So just the amount of lying he was doing in the video was just strange. And people were just trying to defend Aaron, saying, well, it's very tragic what's happening with Natalie and Tony. No, that can't be correct, because just a few weeks ago, and this is again when Tony was still very sick, Aaron was joking about again, this never happened, that in Scientology, he was being awed and assaulted by a mentally handicapped man and just chuckling it up. And it was so bad, even Serge called him out on it. So it's just not fitting the profile he's putting out, that he's just dealing with a lot of tragedies. He's just overwhelmed. He literally is telling us he doesn't know what the hell's happening. He doesn't even know if DOA is innocent. He just said, I just love DOA. He's a good and great guy. Based on what? Your word? Okay, but you say you're not really well informed. So what are you doing all day? He doesn't have a normal 9 to 5 job. He has no excuse. What are you doing? It just seems like he's looking in the mirror, touching himself, and putting on a pink shirt. That's it. And he's playing with new microphones. That's nice. What does this have to do with serious activism? So I don't know. I honestly am just laughing at the whole thing, because good or bad, whether you like my content or not, I've been vindicated on the major issues I've commented upon about Aaron and his fan base being a little too fanatical and not willing to be looking at the hard truth and acting like an echo chamber. Same thing with DOA. I've been very suspicious of DOA for a while, and apparently I was getting hammered for being an OSA agent. Well, now I have no idea what to believe, because apparently Aaron is agreeing with these criticisms. Says, I don't care. I just love my Scott. He's just really wonderful. Why? How? How would you know this? You say you don't even take a stance now. You're totally independent. Totally independent, but you're going out there and giving them money and offering them support, and then you get in jail when you're out in LA. So which is it? Are they totally independent, or are you a part of this group? Why aren't any of these people on the SPTV Foundation? Why is the SPTV Foundation not a real foundation and just a private corporation? But then we get back to, he's just tragic. He's dealing with Heather and Natalie and Tony's and, oh my God, Jenna, and it's just overwhelming. Well, if it's overwhelming, give the leadership to someone else. It's just not making a whole lot of sense. It's all very incoherent. And I understand the occupation thing was a disaster. Aaron looks like a fool. DOA looks like a fool. And their fans look like fools. So now they're scrambling to create a new narrative. But apparently we're all going to agree that DOA was to blame for everything. But he's still really a nice guy deep down, because he was saving children. How? Because he pointed at tunnels that people knew about for decades. He's like, at least I uncovered the tunnels like Batman. I did so much detective work. Yeah, we've known about these tunnels for a while. Tunnels under buildings are nothing new. It's nothing new to Scientology. Jesus Christ. It's just very hilarious clown college tactics going on here. But hopefully some serious activism will emerge. But I'm not too hopeful it will emerge, given the context of the squirrel / Aaron pink shirt revolution, or whatever it is.